Are we on? All right. Good evening, Farmington Hills. Welcome to the City Council meeting of February 5th, 2024. We are at the City Council Chambers at 31555 West 11 Mile Road, and I am calling this meeting to order. And we always begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I have asked Alvin Lynn, who will be accepting a proclamation in a few minutes, to lead us tonight.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Lynn. Okay, roll call, please.
Council members Aldred.
Here.
Olaware. Here. Bridges.
Here.
Bruce.
Here.
Dwyer.
Here.
Knoll. Here. And Mayor Rich.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, and item 1, approval of the regular session meeting agenda. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, did you have a motion?
Yeah, I do have a motion, Madam Mayor, that we move item 4 into the section of following the proclamation recognizing that hate has no home in Farmington Hills. So move item 4 up before correspondence, if that's possible for the council.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion, and otherwise accept the agenda?
Yes, I will move that the council accept the agenda as written with that addition.
Support.
Thank you.
Okay, moved and supported, and this is a regular vote. All in favor, please, oops, sorry. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, it is approved. So item 4 will now still be behind item 3, but moved up to be before correspondence.
Yes.
And then, thank you. And that leads us to a proclamation recognizing Optimist Day 2024. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, would you please read that for us?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas the Optimist International is a worldwide organization of people committed to optimism and self-development for the improvement of youth and community. Whereas Optimist Day is recognized and celebrated annually on the first Thursday of February to recognize local optimist organizations, celebrate their contribution to the community, and encourage citizens to do something that bring out optimism in themselves or others. And whereas the Optimist Club of Farmington Hills Farmington Hills has been a vital part of the community for more than 40 years. Whereas this voluntary organization of civic-minded men and women is dedicated to community service, making a difference in the lives of others and working with young people to help them reach their potential to make their dreams come true. And whereas the membership of the Optimist Club of Farmington Hills is composed of citizens drawn from business, industry, and government, and other professions who use their talents and skills to contribute to the community in which they and their families draw daily benefits. And whereas there are 2,500 Optimist Club and Optimist International with more than 70,000 members worldwide who are contributing to their respective communities, encouraging a greater exchange of ideas between young people and adults. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Teresa Rich, the mayor of the city of Farmington Hills, on behalf of City Council, do hereby recognize the Optimist Club of Farmington Hills and call upon our citizens, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to thank our local Optimist Club and honor this vital organization committed to the improvement of youth and family. Accepting this proclamation will be Alvin Lynn, this is the third, who is the president of the Farmington Hills Optimist Club. So, thank you. A few words. Thank you. Thank you.
As president of the Optimist Club in Farmington Hills.
Mr. Lynn, could you please speak into the microphone?
Oh,
Thank you.
my voice doesn't carry like that, huh?
There we go. Well, people at home want to hear you too.
I'm going to keep this real short. We are super grateful for this proclamation. All right,
There we go.
that's better. I'll get it straight. We are super grateful for this proclamation this evening, and thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and the council. We surely appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. This item 3 is a proclamation recognizing that hate has no home in Farmington Hills. You know, unfortunately, we find ourselves in an era where instability, conflict, and war dominate our headlines. As the most diverse community in Oakland County, one of the most diverse cities of our size in the United States, these issues are understandably very personal to many in our Farmington Hills neighbors, including some present in this room, and this includes members of council and myself. Some of our neighbors' loved ones live in countries where the very essence of hate and suffering is allowed to thrive, leaving women and children with no shelter from harm. While we may not be experts in foreign policy, we do possess a deep understanding of our community and its dynamics. We recognize that our community is characterized by compassion for one another. In recent weeks, certain communities have symbolically called for a ceasefire through proclamations. However, it's worth noting that in 2005, members of this city council adopted a policy discontinuing resolutions and proclamations related to foreign policy or diplomacy in other countries. Despite this, we appreciate community members feeling empowered to use this public space to express their sentiments. This space will continue to serve as a safe and open forum for anyone in our community to have their voices heard, and equally important to explore diversity of thought. Irrespective of conflicts unfolding globally, it's imperative to emphasize that hate has no place in our community. And therefore, I issue the following proclamation. Whereas, the city of Farmington Hills is one of the most diverse communities in Oakland County, with more than 83,000 residents who speak more than 60 languages. And whereas the city's diversity allows its residents to listen to and learn from one another, to become more understanding of each other's struggles and ideals. And whereas city leaders have taken strategic and specific actions to promote a sense of belonging and inclusion among our community members, businesses, visitors, and employees. And whereas Farmington Hills stands by its promise to keep its community vibrant, safe, and diverse by condemning violence. Whereas conflicts across the globe have led to significant loss of life and suffering, affecting the global community, including members of this community. And whereas conflicts and acts of hate affect the mental and physical wellness and sense of security among many members of our citizenry and employees. And whereas the city reaffirms its commitment to enforce a zero-tolerance policy for hate crimes and to stand up against all forms of racism, prejudice, homophobia, and intolerance. Now, therefore, I, Teresa Rich, Mayor of the City of Farmington Hills, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim that hate has no home in this community, and call upon all within Farmington Hills to recognize that we are stronger when we encourage civility, understanding, empathy, and peace. I encourage all to express unwavering support for all members of our community, including those impacted by global factors. I declare that hate and violence has no home in our city, and I encourage our community to learn from those who have different experiences or who come from different backgrounds to ensure the city of Farmington Hills is a place that practices compassion, where everyone is welcome. Together, we are one Farmington Hills. And I am providing this to the clerk to file. And this takes us to our item 4, consideration of approval of appointment of Mark Berkey as magistrate for the 47th District Court.
Good evening. Mayor Rich, Mayor Pro Tem Bridges, and council members. I am very pleased to be here. I'm Matt Friedrich, and I'm the court administrator at the 47th District Court. I'm pleased to be here tonight to request council's approval of the appointment of Mr. Burke as our new magistrate in the 47th District Court. If I may give some background.
Please do, and I apologize for mispronouncing your name, sir.
I have been, I think as all of you know, a magistrate with the 47th District Court for going on 10 years. And I was recently promoted from deputy court administrator to the court administrator. And as a result of that, I took a step back from most of my magistrate responsibilities. And with that, the judges posted the position of part-time magistrate. We conducted interviews recently, and Mr. Burke was chosen as the candidate to essentially take my place in the rotation. And I'm probably most happy that he'll be taking the rotation on call 4 months of the year. And I think my wife's pretty happy about that. Mr. Burke is a lifelong resident of Michigan. He's actually lived in Farmington Hills since he was 6 years old, graduate of North Farmington High School in 1989. He's also been a practicing attorney for more than 25 years. He has a very diverse law practice. He has an extensive background in civil litigation, traffic criminal matters, bankruptcy, and he's been a special assistant to the Attorney General prosecuting child support cases for more than 20 years. So he comes to the court with an extensive background, a great wealth of knowledge, and we believe that he will be a great addition to the rotation, and he will serve the court well as he will the citizens of Farmington and Farmington Hills. I think he wanted to make a really brief statement if he could.
Please do. Let's see how really brief you are, Mr. Burke.
Thank you. Mayor Rich and members of the City Council, I just wanted to thank you very much for your consideration. I wanted to thank Matt and Michelle at the court, as well as Judge Brady and Judge Parker for their appointment of me and their, I guess I'm losing my train of thought, but I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity, and if approved, I will serve the community in the courthouse to my utmost and absolute best ability. Thank you.
Welcome to the city.
Thank you.
Okay. Then next item is correspondence. Any council members have correspondence they would like to share? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I beg your pardon. Now that he's been here, stood here, talked to us, I could use a motion to accept him.
Yeah, I make a motion to accept the appointment of Mark Burke as magistrate in the 47th District Court. Support.
All right, moved and supported.
And you know, may I make a suggestion? His family can come up here and take pictures head on, so you don't get the back of his head.
Yeah, come on up and take your pictures. You know you need to.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Okay, so while you're doing pictures, we're going to vote. All right. All those in favor of approving Mr. Burke as magistrate to the 47th District Court, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Mr. Burke, you're in.
Thank you very much.
Now, welcome to the city.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Now, let's do correspondence. Mr. Aldred, did you have some to share?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. In addition to emails that I believe all of council received, I received a specific email from a Mr. Serpento on Grand Duke on January 29th with regard that his AT&T telephone landline had been out for 10 days from the 17th to 27th. I passed this on to city manager, who him and his office did a great job in chasing that down, and so Mr. Serpento wanted me to pass on his thanks to city manager for chasing that. He still is, however, experiencing bad quality on the phone line, and importantly, this is something that was affecting a whole region of Farmington and Farmington Hills. and I don't think it's completely resolved, so I think that was my question back to the city manager is, do we have any idea of how broad this phone outage has been and when we think it's going to be fully resolved?
So would you mind if I address that in my city manager's report?
That'd be
Because
fine.
I have a
Thank you.
comment about that. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other
That's it.
correspondence?
Thank you.
Mr. Dwyer? Correspondence? Ms. Buller?
Now that no one else has not received.
Okay.
Same.
All right, well, I do have one to share. I received an email from Kent Cady, who had a mishap when his truck just stopped trying to make a right-hand turn on Middle Belt and 10 Mile. And Officer Myers went above and beyond to assist him. I will pass this email on to all of you and the city manager so that he can share it with Chief King. But Mr. Cady goes through the whole story, and I'm sure that the work that Officer Myers did on this day is representative of what she does for our other residents as well, and it made us all very proud to read, or did well. So there we are. Okay, and acknowledging that all of us did receive about 200 emails this last week regarding a request for proclamation. Okay, next up is the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine, administrative, or non-controversial by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the items may be removed from the consent agenda for consideration. They will be read by the Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Item 6, recommend approval of a purchase of a 2023 Ford Police Interceptor to replace total police fleet vehicle to Longhammer Ford in the amount of $44,195. This is CMR 12411. Item 7, recommend approval of an agreement with Charge EV LLC to provide electric vehicle charging stations at The Hawk. This is CMR 12412.
Okay, we have had them read. Is there a motion? Mr. Bruce, Dr. Bruce.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would move the approval of the consent agenda items number 6 and 7 as read by the Mayor Pro Tem.
Is there support? Support by Mr. Aldred. Okay, this is a roll call vote.
Council members Knoll,
Yes.
Dwyer,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Bridges,
Yes.
Bolaware,
Yes.
Aldred,
Yes.
and Mayor Rich.
Yes. Okay, that then takes us to public comment and questions. Public comment is limited, public questions and comments. So I know we have a number of people who have been here for public comment in the past. Public comment is addressed to the dais, so to council. It is limited to 5 minutes. This is not the opportunity for a dialogue. This is the opportunity for a commenter to come and provide the words that they would like to provide for us, and we will listen respectfully. Similarly, we expect that there will be no response from within the audience. We ask you to please speak into the microphone. You will have 5 minutes. I have a 5-minute timer now, and so when the time has passed, we will let you know it is time to relinquish the microphone. So to keep order, we have asked for people to provide a blue card. You can see I have a number of them already. What our process is I will let you know who, so the first person is going to be Rania Masri. And then I will let you know who is going to be the person to follow, and it looks like Ralaf Khatib. And so when I let you know that you're going to be the person to follow, please be in line behind the person speaking so that we can make sure this stays moving and don't have to worry about transit time across the room. If for some reason you would like to give public comment and you are unable to come to the microphone, we are happy to bring the microphone to you. Please just indicate that so we will know, so that we can be respectful of your abilities. So with that, I'll put up the timer, and Ms. Mastery, please.
Good evening, council members. My name is Rania Masri, and I live in Farmington Hills. Thank you to all of you for listening to our concerns at the previous public meeting and for having in-person meetings with some of us to hear our concerns. Although we appreciate the proclamation you have just read, it only addresses part of our concerns. We did express that many community members are looking to the City Council to reiterate the city's commitment against discrimination of all people as a result of global conflict, including Muslims, Jews, Christians, and Arab Americans, and to the safety of all Farmington Hills residents. Thank you for addressing that concern. However, we were quite clear that it was important for our city to reiterate its commitment to peace for all people, including for the loved ones of Farmington Hills residents who are Palestinian American. We asked for Farmington Hills to call for a cessation of hostilities or to stand for peace, and our call was ignored. Madam Mayor, we showed up in large numbers at the last meeting with concerns for our families, community members, and horrified at the atrocities happening in Gaza. Many of us campaigned for you and voted for you. I voted for you. I thought you'd be bringing the change the city needed, and I believed in your commitment to diversity and equality. You came to our mosques, and you told us you valued our community. Our votes gave you the position you're all in today. We expected to be heard. You began at that meeting before any of our community members had spoken with referencing a resolution that passed 18 years ago as an excuse for why our voices would be listened to politely, but that they didn't matter and why our concerns wouldn't be addressed. You informed us that we could speak all that we wanted, but passing a ceasefire resolution wouldn't be possible because the council passed a resolution in 2005 preventing you from taking any stances on foreign policy or involving foreign countries. Imagine my surprise and feelings of hurt, and of many others, when we watched a recording of the council meeting from March of 2022, where the council passed, quote, a proclamation in solidarity with the sovereign nation of Ukraine. Among other things, the proclamation states that Ukrainians in the Metro Detroit area are watching in shock and horror as their homeland is being attacked, and that the city of Farmington Hills is proud to have Ukrainians among our community's diverse population, and that we stand in solidarity with the sovereign nation of Ukraine. And whereas our hearts go out to those with relatives and loved ones in the Ukraine that now face the loss of their homes and their lives during this time of unimaginable violence, and whereas we support the efforts to provide humanitarian aid to the millions of people who are fleeing conflict in Ukraine. Reading this proclamation, one cannot but wonder, what are we asking for the people of Gaza that does not mirror what is in this proclamation? Are Farmington Hills Palestinians not watching in shock and horror as their homeland is being attacked? Is Farmington Hills not proud to have Palestinians among our community's diverse population? Do your hearts not go out to those with relatives and loved ones in Gaza that now face the loss of their homes and their lives during this time of unimaginable violence? And do you not support efforts to provide humanitarian aid to the millions of people who are in Gaza? And my community stood with our Ukrainian neighbors who called for peace. But the situation is just completely different, isn't it? Because in Gaza, there's a full blockade on food and medical supplies. Because in Gaza, Israel controls and can shut off the electricity and water supply to over 2 million people. Because the people of Gaza cannot flee like the people of the Ukraine. They are refugees from their own homeland, and they are now trapped in a 2.5-mile wide strip, blockaded, occupied, and murdered, and forced to bury their family members every day. Respected council members, you may think that your positions don't empower you to make a difference, but you are in your positions because your city voted for you and you are our voices. Every call for ceasefire, every plea for peace at the local and city level is heard loud and clear nationally when copies of our proclamations and resolutions are sent to Congress. Madam Mayor, you made it clear that you had taken a position on this issue before hearing our voices. But I hope you heard all of our voices loud and clear, because they aren't going to be going away. And inaction will only lead to more conflict and division in this community. So if you want this problem to go away, it's time to address it.
Thank you. Nope. We will maintain decorum, please. Okay, so Ralph Khatib is now, and Azim Khan is next.
It's pronounced Rahaf Khatib. Peace be
very much.
upon you and good evening.
Good evening. Make sure you get all your time. This is not going to work. Okay.
My name is Rahaf Khatib. I reside in Farmington Hills. Peace be upon you and good evening. This is the second time we, as your constituents, urgently request a ceasefire resolution from our respected council members. How sad that we have to beg for it, to beg to be humanized, to beg and implore you, council women and men, of whom we, your constituents, elected. Yet you draft us a diluted proclamation which fails to address the gravity of our request. I keep hearing the phrase, it's complicated, which should not be an excuse for inaction or indifference, especially when resolutions have swiftly passed for other foreign nations. It's complicated as a willful performance of privilege to absolve oneself of complicity. Was it complicated when you so eagerly and easily passed a resolution last year on Ukraine? When it comes to protecting the sovereignty of Ukraine, you took immediate, unequivocal action, completely dismissing and negating the 2005 resolution. This is a prime example of hypocrisy. The struggle of living in a hypocritical world where double standards are becoming the norm is something few of you would understand. Your one-sided stance only serves to absolve responsibility and ignore the clear need for peace, as emphasized by UNICEF's call for humanitarian ceasefire to protect children in the state of Palestine and Israel, which states all children in the state of Palestine and Israel deserve peace and hope for a better future. And I urge you to go read that ceasefire statement at UNICEF's website. We remind our council members that it's crucial to align with community policies and morals, prioritizing the voices and needs of those who elected you, especially when it comes to advocating for peace. We thank the council members that met with us and engaged in a respectful dialogue, and we request that a ceasefire resolution be placed on the agenda by next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next, Mr. Khan, followed by Irfan Shutari. Go ahead. I have a separate timer for you so that we can.
No, I don't think I need 5 minutes.
Okay.
Mayor, council member, good evening. You all know me. My name is Asim Khan. I ran for city council last November, and I was kind of pushed into the lead with this group who's organizing all this email campaign, what people are showing up last time and today, and we'll probably keep coming till we get what we want. I come here very frustrated. I'm frankly very disappointed. We were trying to have a dialogue with you, and we reached out to you guys. Some of you met with us last time, and I thank you all for that. Some of you, I don't know whether you didn't get the email or you ignored us, and some of you probably just didn't want to meet us, which is fine. Like two other speakers mentioned about the proclamation on Ukraine, that was very, in my opinion, there's a bigotry in it. You already have different rules for different group in your community, and we can see that. And we see that not just here, we see it all across the country. But hopefully we can fix it and we can change it in the years to come. I don't know what else to say. You know, the version the proclamation that we saw was not even a watered down version. It was next to nothing in my opinion. We asked you for something else and you just want to give us something and shut us off, and that's not going to happen. We'll be coming back to you, to this council, back every month, every other meeting, and we'll make sure we get exactly something that we can live with. This is pure bigotry, pure hatred that we see, pure racism. It's double standard, in my opinion, and that's not acceptable. And I'm glad you're doing this. Our community till now was very asleep. They are waking up, and I thank you all for that. And I thanks for this is the only good thing that's coming out of this whole issue right now. And you underestimated our community, and we will show our true strength in 2025. Thank you.
You. Okay, Irfan Shutari, followed by Iman Abdallah.
All right, good evening, everyone. Irfan Shatari, Farmington Hills resident for 13 years and many more years hopefully to come. I'm going to start by thanking you all, right? We should thank you all for your time last week or 2 weeks ago. Thank you for the time that you gave us to advocate for the specific item that we want to speak to you all about. I thank those of you that gave us your personal time as well. It's busy for all of us. We understand, and you took the time to meet with us. We caucused. This is civics in action. It's a beautiful thing. And so as you listen to all the speakers come up tonight in a very respectable fashion, please keep that in mind that this is civics in action. Let's not ask anybody to say ditto, right? Let's hear everyone out, and we're just thanking you and appreciating you. And in addition to that, thank you for the proclamation. I think I asked some of you to take action. That was the only thing I asked for, right? Now, we had some very specific asks, but at the very least, what we wanted was action. You all took action. You just didn't go far enough. And that's our problem tonight. This, you know, I have to say this. I wasn't going to say this. I'm going to say it. All of you that I got to meet with, some of you are courageous people. You've done courageous things in your life, and you should be commended for the courage that you've shown. But to hear that you belittle the role of city council and the role that you sit in and serve is very disheartening, guys. You sit in such an important chamber, and you have frustrated people in front of you that can't get any say at the federal level. Our community is not getting a word at the federal level. They're funding Israel at $3.8 billion. We can't get a voice at the state level. We've received appointments, and yet the state still stands and affirms its stance with Israel. And so we come to our local level, where we feel that maybe this promise in America of grassroots advocacy, which we've seen civil rights leaders rise from, women's rights leaders rise from, that we'd hope that through our city council and through grassroots advocacy, we may be able to start something very small that'll roll like a snowball, and we're all familiar in Michigan with snow. And that snowball will continue to grow and become a much larger snowball effect, right? That many sociologists talk about, the snowball effect of movements. And so you could have been one of those cities that proclaimed and called for a ceasefire. And there's many cities around the country that have done it. There's many cities in Michigan that have done it. And we could have been that city, and we still feel we can. I'd ask you to amend the proclamation, call for peace. Say peace has a home in Farmington Hills. Hate has no home, peace has a home. Call for a cessation of hostilities. You don't want to use this word ceasefire. We were willing to compromise on that. But we have to go further, and we have to be courageous, because grassroots advocacy is where America resides even today. So the smallest people in this country can make the biggest difference if we start at the local level. I could talk about how hypocritical the Ukraine stance was. I've already sent an inquiry to the city attorney because I've been told that it was allowed to make a statement with the sovereign nation of Ukraine, despite it being a foreign affair. I believe that city attorney is probably speaking to the fact that your 2005 resolution is not binding on you all as a city council. And so you can make proclamations to foreign affairs. So I've already put in that inquiry to the city, and I'm likely to find out that that resolution that you all passed in 2005 is actually not binding on you all. So we have two decisions that we have to make. Are we willing to show courage as a city council to build upon this movement for a ceasefire in the Israel and Palestinian crisis? And can we show the courage to either take a proclamation that can be amended to include this language, or stick to the resolution as we brought it to you all? Let's really show that courage as a resolution for a ceasefire in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Thank you all for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Iman Abdallah, followed by Muhammad Abdallah. Good evening.
Hello, my name is Iman Abdullah. I am a high school student. I attend Oakland Early College, Community College right here. I wanted to start by saying that we are living in abnormal and unprecedented times. Not only are we witnessing, but we are fueling and we are funding the greatest genocide of my lifetime. And these abnormal and extreme times call for extreme measures from our locality. Every country and every people is like one body, and if one part of the body is doing something wrong, then every last tiniest limb should react in pain, and this is what our religion, Islam, teaches. So because of this, our locality, Farmington Hills, has a responsibility beyond a resolution that has been put in place in 2005. Our country and our world has grown and changed so drastically in the past 20 years, and Farmington Hills must be able to keep up with these evolving times. Our changing times are not bound by a resolution set in place at a different time and under different circumstances. And I also urge you guys to consider the Gaza and Israeli conflict not as a foreign affair, but as a domestic affair, because unlike Ukraine, that was operated by the situation was under Russia and Ukraine, Israel is being fully funded and about 18 billion American dollars, and your taxpayers' money is going towards there, making it not fully a foreign affair. The U.S. is as involved in it as Israel is, and that's why I urge you guys to consider it not only as a foreign, but as partly a domestic issue as well. And finally, my final point is that I wanted to point out that calling for a ceasefire is neither controversial nor picking sides. The facts remain. The facts are very, 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 very clear. They remain that 2.1 million people are engaged in an open-air prison. 33,000 have been murdered, 70,000 have been injured, and 2 million have been displaced. And 25,000 tons of explosives have been dropped on Gaza, making it to be the most extensive bombing campaign committed toward any group of people in history. So calling for a ceasefire is neither picking the Israeli over the Palestinian or the Palestinian over the Israeli. Rather, it is choosing to stand against oppression and violence and choosing to preserve the sanctity of the human life. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mohammed Abdallah, followed by Mariam Dakan.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for hosting us and opening the floor for us. I was happy to see the proclamation that hate has no place in Farmington Hills. I appreciate the wording in there. I appreciate the message. Fundamentally, as I listened to it, I heard a message that carried an important subliminal message, that this conflict is a conflict in a faraway land, a distant land that has nothing to do with us. And that was a theme in that message. And now we want to keep it that way, and we want to keep the hate out of here locally. And unfortunately, it's not a conflict in a faraway distant land. And just as the speaker before said, that's because we are deeply, deeply involved. We are arming it. We are funding it financially. We are defending it in all the courts internationally. And so this is not a conflict in this way, far away, distant land that we can turn our backs on and we can pretend it's not happening. We are deeply involved. And we really want to see that our local representatives stand with us. There's a lot of discussion going on in the Muslim community from the past few months on who is standing with us. How will we vote as next election comes up? And I'll just share that voting patterns will change. Voting patterns are going to change. There are a lot of different topics, issues that we care about. A lot of different issues, locally, nationally, internationally. But if someone is not willing to stand for ending a genocide and say that we do not support, stop sending our weapons to kill people there. Stop sending our weapons. Stop sending bombs. Stop sending cash to finance that. That's just a red line we can't cross. We really implore. And there will come a day when this war, God willing, will end. Hopefully sooner than later. It's going to end. And when it ends, the truth of the devastation and the carnage will become even more clear. And a lot of people will regret then that they weren't at the forefront. We want Farmington Hills to be at that forefront. This is a city we love. We chose to live here. I live here. I didn't mention that. I live here with my kids, my daughter who just spoke. We want this to be a city we're proud of. We want this to be a city that reflects the values that we believe in. And we did not see all that in that proclamation. So please, city council members, mayor, We are asking for a proclamation for ending a ceasefire, and find it very hard to understand why there would be a reluctance to issue a ceasefire. It's asking for ending the violence, for stopping funding the violence. It's the least we could do. If anyone feels that that is controversial, they really the burden of proof is on them. We're not asking for military intervention to support one side. We're not asking for financial intervention. We're asking for the exact opposite. Use our leverage as the most powerful country in the world, our leverage as the country that's supporting and financing and arming to call for a ceasefire, to end the violence. So we are waiting, and we hope we hear progress on it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Mariam, followed by Husnia.
Good evening, respected council members and mayor. I stand before you today to address a matter of utmost urgency and moral significance, the ongoing conflict in Gaza. As representatives of this community, you hold the power to influence change and advocate for peace. I implore you to consider the devastating consequences of the current situation and, in the name of humanity, call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. We cannot turn a blind eye to the human suffering. Families are being torn apart, communities reduced to rubble. These are the realities of this conflict. We should stand for peace, justice, and the well-being of all people, regardless of nationality or religion. It is imperative to recognize that a ceasefire is not a sign of weakness, but a strategic move towards long-lasting stability. The cycle of violence in Gaza has proven to be a futile path, leaving destruction in its wake and perpetuating a cycle of despair. By endorsing a ceasefire, we align ourselves with the rational pursuit of a peaceful resolution that can result in sustainable peace. Imagine the anguish of parents in Gaza, fearing for the safety of their children every moment of every day. Envision the resilience of a community that longs for the simple pleasures of life, the laughter of children playing, the bustling markets, and the warmth of shared moments. Our hearts should ache at the thought of these aspirations, shattered by the relentless echoes of this conflict. It is our shared humanity that calls upon us to act with empathy and compassion. In conclusion, I urge you to rise above political divisions and recognize the urgency of this humanitarian crisis. By calling for a ceasefire in Gaza, we send a powerful message that our city values the sanctity of human life, the pursuit of peace, and the promise of a better future for all. The world is watching, and history will judge us by the actions we take today. The time to act is now. Thank you.
Thank you. Husnia, followed by Juna. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members. Thank you for being here this evening and giving us this opportunity. Last time we were here, and I'm not going to sit here and read off a bunch of statistics, because by now, if you don't know what's going on in the world and you're not watching the unbiased media, such as Democracy Now!, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to make a few points because it's just, I'm actually sitting here in shock. I'm going to echo the sentiments of Rania Masri and my other fellow community members, but I'm also going to tell you that last time we were here, it was a clear slap in the face when we were told, people pouring out of this room, that, you know, no matter what you're here to say or how many of you there are, guess what? There's a resolution on the books from November 29th, 2005 that says we don't get involved in foreign affairs. Then come to find out that there is a resolution, okay? It's not just hypocrisy, it's duplicity, okay? We're not an ignorant bunch, we're an extremely educated, strong, resistant bunch, okay? This is not, and I'm not surprised by your stance. I'm gonna be honest. I know what neighborhood you live in, and it's in, I know what it's like to be around in that neighborhood, okay? They're very strong, and they've put out their narrative for a lot of years, which is an inaccurate narrative, okay? I'm not shocked anymore, like I said, especially in the light of this satanic brutality, satanically brutal genocide by the Israeli government on the Palestinian people, not only in Gaza, the 25-mile by 5-mile stretch of land, but all over Palestine, where 6-year-olds are being thrown in jail, okay, and brutalized, people in their hospital beds being killed and shot, okay? I want to continue to hold your attention just for a few minutes longer, for a few seconds longer. That resolution you've got up on the board, that second slap on the face proclamation recognizing that hate has no home in Farmington Hills, guess what that sounds like to me? The Anti-Defamation League's program that you've got in Farmington Public Schools. Hate has no place in Farmington Hills schools. The Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, they are the most racist group in this country, okay? They are racist against African Americans, Palestinians, Muslims. They're a Zionist racist group, okay? This is a huge slap in the face, okay? We are not uneducated, we're not ignorant, and we're certainly not stupid and weak. There's a bill that's going to be put out by House Speaker Johnson that's going to be put up for vote to send another $17 billion in Israel. Don't we have enough problems in this country? We don't need that $17 billion. We don't need help with our college tuition. We don't need to take the homeless people off the street. We don't need health care. It's time that you all educate yourself on the foreign policies that you need to get involved on and stand strong. And I'm not going to sit here and preach to you and ask you to please pull your moral compass and look at it and stand strong in front of this resistance that you get in this city. You just need to do what's best for your community, because we are your constituents and we are strong. Thank you.
Thank you. Jenna, followed by Pete.
Good evening, Farmington City Council members. My name is Jenna Paratakis, and I am a Palestinian Greek American. I am here today on behalf of the citizens of Gaza and the citizens of Farmington Hills. I would like to share with you some things that are happening in Gaza right now. If you don't already know, children are dying of hypothermia. And it's not just because the weather is too cold for them. They don't have enough food to produce energy to keep them warm. They are dying of hypothermia, and the children of Gaza are being starved and slaughtered, or both. Their food is being rationed if they have any at all. I'm here today to appeal to your moral conscience. Do you not understand how inhumane it is? The atrocities being committed in Gaza right now? I don't understand how you can say that you don't deal with foreign policies when in the past you have passed a ceasefire resolution for Ukraine, but yet you won't do the same thing for the children of Gaza. These children are dying. I don't know what else to say for you to stand up for what is right. I also don't understand how it isn't already apparent that a ceasefire is vital and required immediately to save Gazan lives. I don't know that if you don't watch the news or if you just don't care or if it doesn't bother you. I don't understand how you can go to sleep at night knowing that you are being complicit in this ethnic cleansing and you are being complicit in this genocide and you have a hand in killing these children by not passing the ceasefire resolution. You have power beyond measure sitting in those city council seats, but you refuse to use it to save lives. You have the opportunity to be on the right side of history. You have the opportunity to do something and to do your part to help the normal people like you and me who don't deserve what is happening to them in Gaza. I am here today to implore you to call for a ceasefire resolution. That is, if your conscience has not already compelled you to. I implore you, I beg you to call for a ceasefire resolution now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Pete, followed by, I think it's Alexander Mia. Thank you.
Hi.
Good evening.
Hello, my name is Peter Paratakis. I'm a resident of Farmington Hills. Hello, my name is Peter Paratakis. I'm a resident of Farmington Hills since the year 2000. We've been coming here now last couple of meetings, requesting for you guys to proclaim or request a ceasefire, similar to many other cities in the United States. Chicago passed it. Many smaller cities, same type of thing. We as a community, all over the United States, we're holding our president accountable. He lost many votes over his inaction or action of having this war keep on going on without requesting a ceasefire. So he's going to lose all of Michigan for that. And this is Michigan here. We voted for you as we voted for Joe Biden. We're not going to vote for him this time. Now, we're not going to vote for you either because collectively, you guys all stand for the same decision. We're not going to make a proclamation. So I don't know, Mr. Eldred, what your personal opinion is on this, nor Mr. Dwyer, Ms. Bolaware, Ms. Knoll, Mr. Bruce, Ms. Rich, Mr. Bridges, Jopich, Mr. Jopich, Leon, Mr. Merkian. So as far as we're concerned, you guys are all complicit in the genocide. So I suggest you guys have another meeting, open it up and give us what we want, because what we want is not that much. We just want our city to say, you know, no to genocide. That's it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Alexander, I'm sorry, I can't read your writing, and to be followed by Melina. Looks like we have another one in the family, right? Okay, go ahead, please.
Hello again, City Council members. My name is Alexandria Parasakis, and I'm a Palestinian Greek American and a freshman in high school. I want to thank you all for taking the time to write a hate has no home here proclamation, but that isn't enough. People are still being murdered while we are watching it happen. Last time I was here, Mayor Rich, you mentioned that this was the fullest city council meeting that you've seen. That means that Farmington Hills residents care for our city council to call for a permanent ceasefire. The people in Gaza need you to end this genocide using all the power you can. We need to stop this endless murder of innocent civilians. It's unfathomable that people in this room can watch a live genocide right before our eyes and be okay with just watching it and letting it happen. You cannot say that Farmington Hills does not deal with foreign policy because according to the U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights, Farmington Hills gives Israel $1,303,497. Let me say that one more time so it fully sinks in. $1,303,497. Do you know where that money could have gone? It could have gone into our schools, healthcare facilities, roads, and more. Bombing hospitals, UN schools, churches, mosques, innocent civilians, especially in 2024, is unacceptable. It's unjustifiable to eradicate a population, to use starvation as warfare, or to kill journalists covering these atrocities. Israel's attempt to silence Palestinians and hide their actions must not succeed. Over 1,000 children in Palestine have undergone limb amputation without anesthesia. Imagine their pain. We cannot sit by and watch more people being brutally murdered. They are humans, not animals. As of February 3rd, 120 days into this genocide, the death toll in Gaza is over 27,238 people, 75 of which are children, women, and elderly people. More than 7,000 Palestinians are still under the rubble of destroyed homes, including over 5,000 children. A number of injured people has exceeded 66,452, most of which are children and women, according to the health ministry. Israel's occupation forces conducted arrests and forcible disappearance of over 2,500 Palestinians in Gaza, all of which are currently being held in unknown locations. Images and videos taken by the Israeli army showed that they arrested hundreds of Palestinians after forcing them to strip off their clothes. Animals are treated better than this. If anyone in this room cannot condemn the genocide currently taking place in Gaza right in front of our eyes and call for a permanent ceasefire, then know that in my book and many others, you are considered complicit in this genocide, alongside Prime Minister Netanyahu, President Biden, and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Please vote for a ceasefire resolution, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Alina, followed by George. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Melina Paratsakis, and I'm a Palestinian Greek American freshman as well. Let me start this speech by saying that your voices matter. They're loud, they're very, very loud, and multiple grassroots movements have been started on just the local level. Please keep that in mind. I'm here to ask you to put a resolution for a ceasefire in your next meeting's agenda. If you have to stop and wonder why, then something's seriously wrong with your humanity. This is not just an overseas matter, it's a local one too. This has affected many people, not just in the city, and others too. On the 21st of March, 2022, this city council approved a proclamation in solidarity with Ukraine. It's blatant hypocrisy not to mention the 2005 resolution not to take stances on foreign affairs in the meeting that just passed. But to make sure that we understood it, in this meeting, in the last one, the double standard has to stop. Why was the 2005 resolution brought up in the last meeting, but when we called for a ceasefire in Gaza, but not in 2022? If there's anyone at all that is in this room and opposes a ceasefire, then go home and think hard on why you don't want an end to war and genocide, why you don't want an end to the killing of innocent civilians to stop, why you don't have humanity at all. Do you know that 250 innocent civilians are murdered every day by the IDF? That's a higher death rate than any other armed conflict in this 21st century. So just think about it. When you're asked to call for a ceasefire, are you going to say no? Why would you do that? I'm going to leave it at that tonight. Thank you.
George, I think it's Pager, followed by Mohammed Halilovic. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is George Pager, and I'm a paid on-call firefighter for the city of Farmington Hills. My purpose here is to inform the council and the citizens of Farmington Hills of who we are and what we do. Being a paid on-call firefighter is a part-time position. Being part-time employees, we do not receive a pension nor health benefits, unlike our full-time counterparts. We work in the same stations, work the same shifts, and at times ride the same trucks as the full-time firefighters. Paid on-call firefighters demonstrate a commitment to fiscal responsibility, saving the city considerable funds on pension and health benefits that full-time employees typically receive. Despite not enjoying these financial perks, paid on-call firefighters maintain the same level of training and dedication as their full-time counterparts, effectively contributing to the city's safety infrastructure without imposing additional budgetary burdens. Paid on-call firefighters come from many backgrounds: teachers, engineers, students, real estate agents, translators, computer information specialists, stay-at-home parents. The list goes on. Most importantly, we come from the community. Over 30 paid on-call firefighters live here within the city of Farmington Hills, with the rest living in the adjoining communities. Paid on-call firefighters residing in the community fosters a stronger connection between first responders and the residents they serve. This closeness enhances communication and understanding between the responders and the community, promoting trust and cooperation. I myself have rendered aid to citizens while off duty until on-duty crews arrived. Having first responders live in the city they serve not only improves operational efficiency, but also strengthens the bonds between emergency personnel and the community they protect. As I mentioned before, part-time paid on-call firefighters do not receive benefits from the city. We do this because we love our job and our city and would like to serve the citizens for years to come. For this reason, we've come together and are in a process to join the same union, the FAOM-POAM, as the Farmington Hills Police Department. Why do we need a union, you might ask? Over the years, we feel that our role here in the city of Farmington Hills has been diminishing. We can see it shrinking to the point we no longer exist. We are not pursuing a union for benefits such as health care or a pension. We are not seeking a raise or other similar monetary compensation. We are seeking the opportunity to exist and continue to support the citizens of Farmington Hills. In closing, as paid-on-call firefighters, we stand united in our commitment to serve and protect the city of Farmington Hills. Joining the union is not about personal gain, but ensuring our continued presence and contributions to the community we proudly call home. Together, let us forge a path that strengthens the vital bond between first responders and residents, fostering a safer and more resilient future for all. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Mohammed Halilovic, followed by Halima Halilovic. Good evening.
Dear City Council members, community leaders, and fellow residents of Farmington Hills, my name is Mohammed Halilovic. I'm a longtime resident of Farmington Hills. I stand before you again. I came here 2 weeks ago. I stand before you again deeply grateful for the opportunity to address all of you. 2 weeks ago, I shared with you the echoes of my past. Surviving the Bosnian genocide, for those that are not aware, it was a similar genocide that happened to the Bosnian people in Europe from 1992 to 1995. 2 weeks ago, I shared with you those echoes of my past, and today I extend my heartfelt appreciation. I do acknowledge the proclamation that you've made and underscoring the importance of the peace in our community. However, it does not go far enough. Farmington Hills has been more than a home for me. It has been a sanctuary where I rebuilt my life and raised my 4 children. The wounds of the war, etched in my memory from the Bosnian conflict, have found solace and compassion and embrace of this diverse community. The recent proclamation is a testament of our city's commitment to fostering harmony and understanding. So I do express my gratitude to each one of the council members for at least going this far. Yet, as we commend the strides taken forward towards the peace, with this proclamation, the harsh reality persists, lives that are still being lost in ongoing conflict in Palestine. Over 100,000, and I want you to comprehend, over 100,000 innocent children, women, and men have been killed, injured, or are still missing. Even the numbers that they mentioned, the 30,000, they haven't still dug up under the rubble the remaining tens of thousands of people. Having this bloodshed abroad continue directly impacts the safety of our own citizens right here in Farmington Hills. Allow me to draw parallels once again to my own journey, living through the horrors of genocide in Bosnia. The nightmares of that period etched into my mind, where I've seen my friend going for water, crossing a bridge, and he getting shot by a sniper, and he was getting killed. Then his father going out to get him, then his father getting shot at and killed. That is exactly what is happening in Gaza and Palestine. And how we're not able to say, we're not asking, as one of the previous speakers mentioned, we're not asking to send the arms, we're not asking for the US military to go there, but we're asking, stop the killing. And we can't collectively, as good citizens, even at least do that much. I'm very appalled by this. In the spirit of unity and empathy that defines Farmington Hills, I respectfully urge the City Council to consider a resolution explicitly calling for a ceasefire. This nuanced step not only aligns with our city's core values, but also amplifies our commitment to the global peace. Furthermore, I urge the City Council to demonstrate courage during these challenging times when the voices of our community members advocating for ceasefire. being stifled at the state and the federal level. So we have nobody else to turn to. Our president is not listening to us. Our governors are not listening to us. You guys are not listening to us. It is essential for our local representatives to rise above these challenges, acting as champions for the values and concerns for the people they serve. A heartfelt plea from our community deserves a resolute response from our city leadership. In light of this, I respectfully request that a ceasefire resolution be placed on the agenda for the upcoming City Council meeting. This action will not only signify our commitment to addressing the urgent crisis in Palestine, but also showcase Farmington Hills as a beacon of courage and empathy in times of global uncertainty. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Halima Halilovic, followed by Pamela Gerald.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Halima Halilovic, and I'm a high school student here in Farmington Hills. I stand before you once again, grateful for the opportunity to address the City Council. 2 weeks ago, I spoke about the challenges that have occupied my thoughts, particularly the ongoing conflict affecting the lives of innocent civilians. Today, I want to express my gratitude to the City Council for issuing a peace proclamation. Your acknowledgement of the need for peace is a step in the right direction. As a second-generation Bosnian, my roots are deeply tied to a history of struggle and resilience. My parents came to the United States as survivors of the ethnic cleansing during the Bosnian genocide. I share this personal connection because it underscores the importance of fostering peace in the face of adversity. I want to echo my appreciation for the peace proclamation while urging the City Council to consider taking further action by issuing a ceasefire resolution. Despite the peace proclamation, the harsh reality persists as innocent civilians continue to lose their lives on a daily basis. This issue hits close to home for me, resonating with the experiences of my friends in Farmington Hills, especially those of Palestinian descent who have lost family members in the Gaza bombings. These past months have been challenging for me, and I have found comfort in appearing before you and hoping that our community will take firm action by passing a ceasefire resolution. Farmington Hills is more than just my home. It's a community that has the potential to be a beacon of compassion and justice. I'm here to appeal to the collective conscience of Farmington Hills City Council. I implore you to consider a resolution calling for a ceasefire. Let us use our voices to advocate for peace in Gaza and Palestine, showcasing that even teenagers in Michigan are committed to promoting justice and peace. While I may be young, I have faith in our community's capacity to affect change. Our collective voice, though seemingly small, possesses the power to send a resounding message to the world. Thank you for your attention, and I hope we can unite to support what is just and right. Thank you.
Thank you. Pamela Gerald, followed by Farah Khan.
Good evening, Council. I just wanted to say that nothing good comes from violence. To just slightly change the subject, recently, I think it was last Saturday, I went to the firefighters' ball. What an auspicious event. It was well attended for the charities and the organizations that they raised money for. They did a really good job. The setup was nice. I purchased 2 tickets for myself and my husband and 2 additional tickets for a person that I met and her husband. And I was a little jealous because he won all the prizes and I didn't win anything. But it was really a nice event. I'm hoping that the community will reach out next year and support an amazing event with our firefighters that's doing a great job in terms of the people and the causes that they are helping. We're living in some perilous times. And for the first time, I'm at a loss for words. The only thing that keeps coming to my mind is nothing good comes from violence. That's really all I have to say right now. But in walking away from the mic, we need to go a little bit deeper, and we need to get into our neighborhoods and see what's going on in our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Farah Khan, followed by Jenna Elwa.
Respected City Council and Honorable Mayor, good evening. My name is Farah Khan. I stand before you again today to address a matter of the utmost importance that, despite its global implications, resonates deeply within our local community. I understand the desire to focus on matters closer to home, to prioritize local issues that directly impact our community. However, let us not forget that the suffering in Gaza is not just a headline on the news. It is a harsh reality for people in our community who have friends and family directly affected by the atrocities unfolding there. These are not just international headlines. These are the heart-wrenching stories of our neighbors. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that 48 cities in Michigan, alongside others like Chicago and California, have already taken a stance on this matter by passing ceasefire resolution. They have recognized the human impact, the connection between local residents, and the families enduring unimaginable hardships in Gaza. So I ask, how are we different? Are our citizens not equally affected? Do we not share the same empathy for the pain and suffering of our fellow community members? As the elected representatives of our community, the City Council and Mayor, you hold the responsibility to be the voice of the people who entrusted you with their votes. Our community has members who are directly touched by the ongoing atrocities, and by addressing this issue, you demonstrate a commitment to hearing their concerns and acknowledging their pain. While it may seem like an international matter, it is undeniably a local issue on a humanitarian level. Our city is not isolated from the global community. We are connected by shared values, empathy, and the understanding that the pain of the one affects us all. By passing a ceasefire resolution, we express our solidarity with those who suffer and emphasize that our city stands for peace and justice, not just for ourselves, but for the world. Recusing ourselves from this matter under the pretext of it being an international issue undermines the very essence of representation. It diminishes our role as advocates for the well-being of our community members, especially when the pain is intertwined with events happening thousands of miles away. The City Council is not just a legislative body, it's the voice of our community. And our community cares about the well-being of others, even if they are far away. I also want to draw attention to the city's proclamation in 2002 in support of Ukraine. While we respect the sentiments behind this proclamation, it raises concerns when compared to the city's 2005 resolution not to take stances on foreign affairs. This presents a clear inconsistency and could be seen as blatant hypocrisy. If we are willing to make proclamations in one instance, why not in another? It's essential to address this inconsistency to maintain the integrity of our decision-making process. In essence, we are not asking for favoritism or special treatment. We are merely requesting that our city adheres to a consistent standard in addressing global issues. If the city made a proclamation in 2022 without citing the 2005 resolution, against taking stances on foreign affairs, it raises questions about the selective application of such guidelines. By addressing this issue, we ensure transparency, fairness, and a more unified approach to our city's involvement in global matters. Let us remember that our role as the City Council and Mayor extends beyond local potholes and zoning regulations. We are guardians of the values that define us as a community. Our decision to address the Gaza conflict through a ceasefire resolution is an opportunity to embody those values, stand in solidarity with our affected community members, and contribute to a more peaceful world. In conclusion, as we consider the urgency of a ceasefire resolution, let us also reflect on the importance of maintaining consistency and fairness in our decision-making. Our call for action aligns with our community's values, seeking a peaceful resolution to a conflict that has deeply affected our fellow residents. Therefore, I would like to request for a ceasefire resolution to be put on the agenda for the next City Council meeting. Thank you for your time, understanding, and commitment to the well-being of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Jenna Elwa, followed by Rafida Suharian. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, respected City Council members. My name is Jenna Alewa. My family and I have been a Farmington Hills resident for 14 years. I want to thank those of you who were able to take the time and meet with some of us to address and listen to our concerns as well as our asks. However, after reading and hearing the proclamation the city members have proposed, I don't feel our voices were adequately heard. While I appreciate your eloquent speech, Ms. Rich, and I agree Farmington Hills has no place for hate, I do, however, feel this is a blatant hypocrisy regarding a resolution passed for Ukraine last year, where the 2005 document ironically did not come into consideration with that community's ask, in which now should negate the 2005 resolution for some requests moving forward. I stand here before you all to request the council pass a bilateral ceasefire resolution and put this on your next meeting agenda. According to the World Health Organization, an average of 160 children per day are being murdered, limbs of children being amputated, and women undergoing C-sections with no anesthesia. You know, on the way to my son's soccer games, they have expressed to me how they are dedicating their games to the children of Gaza, who are no longer able to play due to limb amputations or being killed, all with our tax dollars, which makes this a local issue. There are hundreds of thousands of children literally starving to death due to the lack of humanitarian aid being let into Gaza by Israel. Do you have any idea how many times a day I say to my kids when they are complaining about not liking their food or not finishing everything on their plate to remember the children of Gaza and how they are literally starving? I can guarantee you that this is not just happening in my home. In relation to the travesty of events in Gaza that have continued to unfold for over 4 months now, with each day showing to be worse than the previous, there has been no email to express concern or outreach for our community. Although we are grieving, we are resilient. Our presence here tonight is a reminder that we are here too, our community matters, and we deserve to be heard and included. Our goal is to be proactive as to avoid the repercussions of inaction that lead to reaction. If we do not allow open, mature, and mutual dialogue in relation to man-made catastrophes, we will never begin to build the bridge to fill the gap of misunderstanding to an actually uncomplicated situation. After allocating our asks for a bilateral cessation of hostilities, you all know what is happening. Complacency and inaction is not an option in a time of a live genocide with this magnitude. For those in which the word ceasefire has become a controversial term in the time of a live genocide, I ask yourself what you would have done in the darkest times of the world's darkest moments of history. I implore you all to pass a ceasefire resolution to ensure all the members in this community know they matter and feel a firm sense of safety, unification, and acceptance. Thank you.
Thank you. Rafida Sumarian, you were Rafida, right? And the next, Faria, I think it starts with an F, Faisuddin. Good evening.
Good evening, council members. I wasn't here last at the council meeting a few weeks ago, so this was my first one. I've heard about the ceasefire. I was honestly really, really shocked to see the Hate Has No Home in Farmington Hills proclamation. I've lived here my whole life. The last time I was in the city hall, I created a protest for, I think, the Muslim ban, Trump 2016. And I'm 24 now. I feel so ashamed to be here and to have seen a proclamation like that, honestly. People have been organizing for ceasefire for months. We've seen week after week Palestinians live streaming their deaths and their genocide. I feel ashamed to be a part of a country and have so much blood on my hands as a taxpayer. And as representatives behind a podium, you have so much power. You don't even understand how much power you have to protect the lives of a child or a man or a woman in Palestine. It was appalling and shocking and distressing to see a proclamation like that. Honestly, that was my honest reaction. I had tears in my eyes. I don't even know what to say at this point. It's just a huge shame. I have grown up here, and I think I've always felt like Farmington Hills was a diverse place to live. But it's so convenient to mention that diversity when it makes you look good, when it makes the city look good. But when it's about protecting the people who have families back home who are suffering and who are dying, where is that diversity? Where is that mention of diversity? It's complete racism. And to have a sanitized statement that's completely diluted of all meaning, it's just shocking.
We'll all be quiet so that we can hear from the speaker respectfully.
It's just complete cowardice. I don't know what else to say. And it's double standards. And I just have to say that you have to take a stand, and you can't make it seem like a faraway conflict. It's really at home. Michigan has one of the highest populations of people from the Middle East. Yeah, there's just nothing else to say. It's blatant racism, it's Islamophobia, it's Islamophobia. And considering that there was a statement released for Ukraine and not for Palestine, I mean, there's vague mentions of hate and peace, and I just don't understand what does it take for people to have Gaza on their lips, to say Palestine with their chest? Like, it's just so shocking to me that can't be done. Yeah, I mean, it's just tiring. We're tired. It's been so long. It's been so many months. We need the city to call for a ceasefire. If Chicago, as one of the biggest Midwestern cities, can do it, I don't understand why at a local level this isn't happening. And I feel failed as a citizen, at a federal level, but you know, this is my home, this is where I lived. And this is the most that many of us can do if we're not, I don't know, activists or working at higher level. And sincerely, I know so many people have come here taking time out of their evenings because this is a conflict and something that's so close to our hearts. And as citizens, as people who represent us, as people who we have voted for, please just take a look at what's happening in the news and deeply consider the power and the privilege you have to call for a ceasefire. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Imam Muhammad Wahoudin, followed by Zainab Ahmed. And I'm so sorry, I did not catch your name. Were you Faria or no? Yeah, you were, okay, thank you. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the time to speak. Madam Mayor, I voted for you. I was told by many people within my community, people who are involved in politics, that you genuinely care about diversity. You care about the people. You would be a voice for us. But when we read this toothless message, that a proclamation that you put out today, we're very disappointed. And I really regret having voted for you. And the statement is just very vague. Hate has no home. I request that you add language to it. For example, peace has a home here. And you also add language to it that is related to cessation of hostilities or a ceasefire in Gaza. This is an issue. I'm an imam of the biggest masjid in Farmington. You called that center today, and many of my congregants are directly affected by this. We're not just a demographic that you can always count on for a vote or to call on and have a photo op with us. Something has to be done. We've come 2 nights and we'll continue to come. And we'll continue to come and speak at these meetings until some type of resolution is passed. And as the previous speaker said, diversity is very nice. It's a very nice catchword, but it does border on racism when a group of people look a certain way and you pull out and you keep pointing to a 2005 resolution stating that we will not say anything about foreign conflicts. Well, just last year, you spoke about Ukraine. So we're asking that you treat everybody equally. We're not asking for any type of special treatment. We're asking that we treat all conflicts equally, all people equally, and that just as Ukrainian Farmington Hills residents were affected by the Ukraine conflict, many residents here. We have residents who 50 of their family members have been killed overseas, and they're being forced to give their tax dollars to help their own relatives be slaughtered. From this city, that's occurring, and we refuse to even speak one word of justice. So it's just very disappointing, and we request that you rectify this statement immediately. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Zainab Ahmed, and then we don't have any other cards, so if there were other people who wanted to speak this evening, if you could please line up, that way we can make sure everyone who would like to be heard is heard this evening. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Zainab Ahmed, and I'm a high schooler and a Farmington Hills resident. While others who've spoken before me mentioned the many atrocities happening against Palestinians right now, I'm here to tell you about the personal relevance this has in our own community. Growing up in Farmington Hills, I've recognized the many characteristics of this city that make it a great place to live. One of those characteristics is that we are a melting pot of many diverse cultures and backgrounds. The city and our schools make it a point to emphasize the importance of diversity within our community through various initiatives, and this has positively impacted many people. However, in the past few months, the rate of hate crimes directed toward minority groups in and around Farmington and Farmington Hills has greatly increased, going directly against this value of diversity. And those who argue that what has been happening in Palestine is only a global issue fail to recognize these hate crimes that have already been happening in the Michigan community as a direct result of this conflict. And in doing so, they neglect the safety of our own community. It is important for the City Council, the people we've elected to represent us and protect our safety, to address these occurrences and be proactive instead of reactive by calling for a ceasefire resolution now, before hate crimes directed towards Muslim, Palestinian, and Arab residents get any worse, and before war crimes in Palestine increase. Also, from a student's perspective, I recognize that young minds are impressionable, and the decisions made by our City Council shape the values we hold. We often learn about the importance of global consciousness in school, yet our own City Council refuses to take a strong stand against war crimes happening around the world. Also, schools like mine have already experienced incidents of hate in the past directed at minority students, so passing a ceasefire resolution would again make it clear that these hostile ideas and remarks that have been made are not welcome and not acceptable, not only in schools, not only in our community, but in the world as a whole. Ultimately, supporting a ceasefire resolution is about prioritizing the well-being of your own community too. Advocating for peace contributes to a safer and more stable environment for our residents, ensuring that we can live and work in a city that values the welfare and security of all people, not just some. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. If you could come to the podium and state, oh, wait, I'm sorry, nope, I had all the cards. If you could state your name, please.
Yeah, my name is Ragda Soliman. I'm resident of Farmington Hills.
Could you move the microphone a little closer to you, please? Thank you.
I'm Ragda Soliman. I'm resident of Farmington Hills.
Thank you.
My beloved Imam, he talks very nice. I love how he talks, and we learn a lot from his lectures. And I am very proud of America. When we came to America, we thought at the beginning that this is heaven of us, because in the Arab world, we have dictators and stuff like that. And now to have all this fake media, which affected all the population in America, so they don't understand what's going on. This is not a war. This is a crime. It's live stream as if it is like long movie, horror movie. I can't stand horror movies. I cry, I feel I feel that this is my kid who is starved. I feel, I know all Americans are very loved people. People in Palestine love America, love American. They love to come here. And to choose this highly dense area, small area, and pump them, starve them, deny them water. I mean, you wouldn't allow it. I mean, if Americans know exactly, not through the fake media, they wouldn't allow it. You know what makes superpower great? Justice. When you lose justice, you lose the meaning of life. I really, since I am watching 4 months, non-stop killing, non-stop. I mean, one time, a surgeon had to do amputation of his own kid with no anesthesia. And he lost the boy because from the pain he died. And when he died, I mean, you can just look at this surgeon. He helped everybody. He couldn't help his boy because Israelis deny anesthesia. Why? Because they want people to feel pain. I know that if Americans know, I am very proud of Jewish people who came forward. Like they said, not in our name. Like I have Jewish friends, and everybody, they are not happy because when you know exactly how bad it is and how inhuman, I mean, even, I love President Biden. That what he did is a mistake. I wish he corrected it so we can vote for him again. I voted for you guys. I voted for him. I really believe in voting. I believe in Democrats and stuff. But I mean, what they did is a horrible mistake. When you love somebody, you tell him, stop. You know, let me tell you one flashback from 1948. A big boat filled with Jewish people came from Europe. They were beaten, they were starved, they were hungry, and the Palestinians received them, and they welcomed them, and they give them land, they give them everything because they are loving people. So, I mean, why they are treating such a tiny place with phosphoric bombs, with every, I mean, this is inhuman. We should help ourselves to be great. America should be, may Allah bless America to stay so other countries, superpowers won't come against America. If America wants to be great, America should be just and human. Somebody has to tell Mr. Biden, please, Mr. Biden, be just. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Please state your name.
I'm Nazomi Emil Pena.
Can you get closer to the microphone? We cannot hear you.
I'm Nazomi Emil Pena. I'm here today to ask you to pass a ceasefire resolution. It's the least I can do, because I find it interesting that it's complicated to pass a resolution for a ceasefire for Palestine, but you did it so easily for Ukraine. Every day for the past 4 months, I've prayed for Palestine, I've donated, I've posted about it, but I can't help but feel useless. If you are not dead, you are surviving off of grass and polluted water, because the IDF is blocking any sort of relief aid from going into Gaza from Egypt, and yet this is still considered a war. It's considered okay because Hamas started it. Mind you, in no way am I justifying the killings of 1,500 people that died in Israel on October 7th. But I stand here before you to ask you to pass the ceasefire resolution to show our outrage, our empathy for the killings of the innocent lives, the Muslims, the Christians, the Jews of Palestinian descent. Almost 30,000 people have died in the past 4 months, and over 6,000 people are missing in the rubble. Children are getting their arms, legs, body parts amputated without anesthesia due to the lack of medical supplies. I can go on with this list. In reality, this is no war. This is genocide. Palestine has no land army, an air force, nor a navy. Honestly, I will not stand here and act like I'm not frustrated, upset for the people of Palestine. This is just blatant racism, Islamophobia even. You guys made a statement for Ukraine, but why not Palestine? This is a double standard. You preach diversity, but when it comes to Black and brown people dying, you're quiet. When I eat, drink, shower, go pray, and do basic tasks, all I can think about are the people of Palestine. They don't have a warm bed to sleep at night. They don't have clean water. They can't shower. They can't do anything. They don't have anything. They can't do basic tasks that I do in my daily life. So again, I ask you to pass the ceasefire resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Is there anyone else for public comment? And if there's anyone following this gentleman, please do come forward. And good evening. Please state your name into the microphone.
My name is Imam Salih. Yes, I come originally, I'm addressing the whole board here. I come originally from Sri Lanka, and I was listening to everyone here, and I have lived in Saudi Arabia for 5 years, and I have lived in the US for almost 35 years. And living in different countries and seeing the different places, I always tell my family, this place is still the best place to live and the most just, because of how justice is held here, and where all people from everywhere is attracted. And I study a lot of history too, and then Thomas Jefferson, he was fighting to see how the minorities could be equal, and that's how this Constitution was created, so that we would be an equal for everyone to come and just perform, and their religious differences, that's the freedom will be given, and which even today is still available to us. But unfortunately, if we don't hold up to this and we become a doormat, we are getting kicked around, they're going to just attack even y'all, us, anybody. We are just getting kicked around, and we are not holding up to basic human values here. I mean, I don't think you need any special understanding. It's just people getting killed, innocent civilians. So I think we need to really look into this and take a stance, just look into your conscience. Otherwise, I have lost hope too of this country anymore. I mean, there's no justice, and this is the great United States where you have this Constitution built and everything else, and we are just letting it go. And these diverse communities are the ones who have to stand up. So, yeah, I think I've said enough, but I just had to pour my heart.
Thank you for your time, sir. Is there anyone else for public comment this evening? Okay. With that, public comment is now closed. That takes us to council member comments and announcements. Mr. Aldred?
No, I don't have any comments this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Dwyer.
Not tonight.
Thank you.
I do. February 1st started the beginning of African American History Month, Black History Month. And as we all know that really Black history is American history, and we should always be studied throughout the year. But I take this opportunity to highlight all the contributions made by Black Americans throughout the years. And as part of Farmington Hills Special Services Department, we are having a Black History Month celebration with the Amon Ray Drummer and Dancers on Sunday, February 25th. It's a very good concert with African dancers and singers and the drums, and it's a very family-friendly event, and I would encourage you and your families to come out and celebrate, this occasion with the city of Farmington Hills. And also, on February 10th, there's a Lunar New Year celebration at the Hawk. That's at 6:30. I went last year, and the music was really phenomenal. And I think that's a great opportunity for us as well to come out and celebrate the diversity, in our community. So hopefully you can make one of those concerts. The information is available on the website, or you can go to the Hawk itself and purchase tickets. The tickets are very reasonable, between $15 and $20. And if anyone wants to come and can't afford it, then, please let me know and I'll see what I could do for you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
No? Mr. Bruce?
Give a comment, yes.
Please.
I attended a Indian League of America Michigan chapter program last Friday. It was an excellent program highlighting the many contributions of the Asian Indian community for Farmington Hills, along with the Islamic community. Many groups in our community make excellent contributions to our community in the form of being business owners, homeowners, and taxpayers. So it was a great program that highlighted the Indian American independence from Great Britain, which occurred in 1947. Just another great opportunity to highlight the diversity of Farmington Hills. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have a couple items to share. When I ran, I promised transparency and accessibility. So I have a couple of events coming up. I invite council to join me for any of them. So here are the 3 for February. On the 13th, I will be having lunch with the seniors at the Caustic Center and then joining them for bingo. That'll be at noon. On the 17th, I have a coffee hour that will be at the Hawk at 11 a.m. And then going to try something new, taking a page out of the book from former Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, who thought it a healthy thing to walk and talk with residents when she was mayor of Southfield. So I'm going to do once a month, take a walk at the Hawk with the mayor. That'll be on the 20th at noon on the track at the Hawk, weather permitting. Whether not, if it's icy, I won't be out there, but we'll be inside instead. So that'll be on the 20th at noon. Those will be opportunities, unlike public comment where it's a one-way dialogue, that's an opportunity for conversation. On a fun note, we still have a couple of openings for Farmington Hills. I still do. It is a free event that will be held at the Longacre House on Valentine's Day at 2 o'clock. To register, you go to our city website, fhgov.com, and I'll be doing a vow renewal with up to 50 couples. And this is co-hosted with WNIC. Chelsea from the J Towers in the Morning Show will be with us. And we appreciate sponsorship from Cafe Cortina as well as Plum Market. And that's all I have for this evening. And that takes us to City Manager update.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Just a couple of items this evening. As mentioned by Councilmember Aldred, many homes in Farmington Hills have their home phone service with AT&T have been impacted by a large system outage. We don't know the exact location in town. We just know that by acknowledgement from folks at AT&T, there is a large outage that they're working. It will be a protracted outage from our understanding, and that any AT&T customers that have been impacted by the outage will have their accounts credited for the time that they are without that service. And for assistance with potential interim solutions or other questions, residents may call AT&T at 800-587-2684 for a dedicated support line Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Central Time, not Eastern Time. Mayor, you mentioned the I Do Still vow renewal. Thank you very much. Also want to let the residents know that on February 7th from 5 to 7 p.m., Sci-Fi Network representatives will be at the Farmington Community Library on 12 Mile Road to share information about the high-speed fiber network being constructed citywide. Residents may also visit the city's website at fhgov.com and click on the Farmington Area Fiber City icon at the bottom. And then one last item, or a couple more items. Just to want to let everybody know that the city will be filling more than 100 seasonal positions with our Public Services Department and our Special Services Department for the spring and summer. So if you have college students that are coming home for the summer and they need a job, we'd love to have them come work for the city. Be sure to visit the city's website for more additional information. And then one last thing, some on council may have noticed and some of the public may have noticed driving around town that some of our new electronic smart signs have been installed. Some have been turned on, have not been programmed yet with the content software, but we're moving quickly and hopefully we'll have those up. I think a couple of them will be up by the end of the calendar week. So we're excited to have new message signs at many city facilities around town. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that takes us to new business. Item 5, consideration of appointments to various boards and commissions. Do we have a motion?
Madam Mayor.
Please.
Madam Mayor, the mayor has made the following appointments for council consideration. Commissioner on Children, Youth, and Family, Bria Lewis, unexpired term ending February 1st, 2025. Umika Mystery, 3-year term ending February 1st, 2027. For the Historical District Commission, we have Emily Howard, a 3-year term ending February 1st, 2027. And these are the appointments that the mayor has submitted to council for consideration.
Thank you. Is there a second? Support. Thank you. This is a regular vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay. I'd like to thank those community members for their spirit of volunteerism. None of the 3 of them has been on a board or commission previously. And there's only one person in the group that I actually knew ahead of time. That then takes us to additions to,
Attorney report.
Attorney report, additions to the agenda. The attorney report, please.
Yes, I've submitted my attorney report. If there are any questions.
These 2 items here that you submitted regarding from the Keller Thuma law firm are
for
separate discussion.
Closed session.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. We are now, as a council, going to go into closed session, and that means we need to clear the council chamber.
We need a.
But we need a motion to do so.
Motion that council will enter in closed session to discuss consideration of an approval of an entry into a closed session regarding pending litigation under Section 8C, 8E of the Open Meetings Act, Reed versus City of Farmington Hills, and Wesley versus Farmington Hills Police Department. Note the council will return to open session immediately following the meeting, closed session, to take any action if needed.
Okay, is there a second?
Support.
Okay, we have motion and support. All in favor? Oh, no, this is a roll call. Thank you.
Council members Aldred,
Yes.
Bolaware? Yes. Bridges?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Dwyer?
Yes.
Noel? Yes. Mayor Rich?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so we are now going into closed session. So unless you are one of our attorneys or otherwise involved in this closed session, please do clear the council chamber. Yes.